What up, Chipper Chaps? This is Chipper Chap Chat, episode 117 now, immediately. We're going to talk about Deadpool today.
Deadpool
I
2.
am FooRay.
I'm Chamba.
We're talking about Deadpool 2.
2.
Spoiler review
Spoiler discussion.
times 2.
Sorry?
I was rapping. Go ahead.
Okay. This film came out recently. It's another R-rated film. Is it
Mm-hmm.
R-rated in America?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here it's MA, but that's essentially the same equivalent. Sequel to Deadpool 1, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
This one features a whole new cast of characters as well as some of the old ones returning.
Different director.
Different director. Was it a different writer?
No, same writers.
Same writer, different director. Okay. If you enjoyed the first one,
Mm-hmm.
without spoiling anything, if you enjoyed the first one, I think you'll enjoy this one.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I thought it was fine.
Yeah, I did too. Did you? What aspects did you not like about it?
Mm,
We're gonna go in spoiler right now at this point. Before we go in spoiler, would you recommend to watch it?
Sure. If you like the first
If you
one,
like the first one,
it's funny.
yeah, it's funny.
Yeah. There's a couple scenes that are cool action wise in it.
Mm-hmm.
Um
You could tell that the budget was kind of well spread,
hmm
which makes more
there was a
sense.
couple choices they made that I thought were bizarre, but
We'll get into
I
that.
mean, yeah.
Uh,
But yeah.
I'd recommend it if you enjoyed the first. Definitely watch this. Now
hmm
let's get into spoilers. Or, I guess spoiler discussion. What were the aspects that you weren't feeling?
Um like I definitely get the gag behind it, but I thought that the way that they handled the X-Force stuff was kind of lame.
Mm.
I definitely I expected everyone to kind of die
Mm-hmm.
once they got to the ground. I didn't think it would be like they
Before they
nobody
hit
even
the ground,
touches the ground.
right?
But I thought everybody was gonna bite it except for Domino.
Right.
Um,
Who I thought was handled well.
yeah, I loved her, dude. I
Domino
ended
was
up
my
liking
favorite
her.
character.
Yeah, easily way more than
Yeah.
every time she popped up for a second and was like, "You're doing great."
Yeah.
I just thought that was
Yeah.
magical. It made her endearing to me immediately.
Absolutely. How they were like at first bagging her ability.
Right,
Like,
right,
how's that even gonna look good?
right.
It's like it looked
Um,
cool. She was great. Give me that. Give
I
me more of that film.
I thought that the a lot of the CG was real unfortunate. Um,
It looks CG.
specifically on Colossus, I feel like they didn't like mocap it or something
Yeah,
on
it
this
was
one
more
because there was a lot more like
rigged.
keyframe
Yeah.
animation things like where they would do like a close-up shot of him talking to Deadpool in the mansion, and it was like clearly like I'm an animated
Mm-hmm.
character
Mm-hmm.
talking to you, and it just didn't at all look natural, which probably is as a result of maybe some stuff that they added of like scenes they added so they couldn't do mocap.
Maybe.
um, but because I know that they did mocap on the movie, I don't know why certain scenes would not be mocapped. So I feel like that had to have been like late additions.
Right.
Because I know I think we talked about it beforehand about Juggernaut being in the movie.
Yeah, we were saying, yeah. We were
That
like,
he
who else could it be? And it was like, it's got to be Juggernaut.
Yeah, so it ended up him actually being in it, but supposedly, like if you look at the credits, it just says Juggernaut is played by himself.
He was
It didn't.
completely CG then.
He was mocapped and voice acted
By who?
by Ryan Reynolds.
Hmm.
So he played Juggernaut. So I don't know if they would ever do a thing like similarly to Colossus. I don't think you'd ever see the like depowered
Yep.
Juggernaut.
I figured.
Um, but it was way closer to the
Oh,
Juggernaut that we would
absolutely.
all be expecting to
Oh,
see. They didn't do his full on outfit. They
no.
did his helmet, and he's got like a prison
But his
outfit.
helmet looked like he looked
He
Juggernaut.
looked like Juggernaut
Yeah.
instead of
He
like the
was
penis thing.
gigantic.
Yeah, that's what you want
Yeah,
out of the
yeah.
Juggernaut.
Completely.
He's like a Hulk character or
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
He was
So,
bigger than Hulk.
so it was cool to see him. in that form.
Mm.
Uh, the fact that they even alluded to Xavier being his brother is kind of nuts.
Yeah, they do a lot of things with this film where I'm like, you're poking, you're making fun of the previous films, but you're also like linking to a lot of actual comic things here.
Yeah, like so that was one of the things I was like, oh, they actually mentioned that his brother. I mean, they didn't say Xavier's my brother,
Yeah,
but he
yeah,
said my brother tries to read my mind.
yeah.
He's
So
in a wheelchair. I
that's why I
have the
wear this
helmet to
helmet.
stop him
Yeah,
from doing it.
exactly. I'm like, that's like it's a throwaway line, but it like automatically you link
But
it.
they didn't do it in the
Yeah,
one where Juggernaut was in the movie before.
I
They
know.
never
That's why
even
it's like for a film that is more jokey and doesn't take itself as seriously, they're
yeah.
more true to the books than
Right.
most
Even
of these other films.
with like Shatterstar,
Hmm.
he mentions that he's from Mojo
Yeah, and I
World.
was like, oh my gosh, they're actually doing this.
Yeah, they mention Mojo World, so
Who
like
the
long shot can exist,
right?
like all of that kind of stuff. And but then they they dispatch of those characters so
Hmm.
quickly.
With green blood, he's got green blood.
Yeah, right, because he's an alien.
Exactly, and they were like, oh, I guess he was.
You know,
They offed him so quickly too.
they did, and again, because I think we talked about as well because in the trailer the scenes with the X Force you only saw even the scenes you did see, which
Hmm.
ended up not being in the
Yeah, yeah, they
movie.
were they were
They
they were
only
trailer
showed
shots.
them do like one
Yep,
move. They
yep,
showed like Terry Crews hits a guy and that's it,
yep,
and like Shatterstar does like a jump kick and
yep,
that's
yep.
it. And so it was very clear, like do one thing so people don't know that you
Hmm.
guys die
You guys are gonna
immediately.
get offed, offed from
Right.
jump.
Um, I just had a feeling they weren't going to do a whole lot.
No, but this was like nothing.
Yeah,
Um, it was funny, but it was like that's
it ended up
unfortunate.
being glorified cameos.
Yeah, that's really
I
all it
mean,
was.
the only thing that kind of sucks about those cameos, in my opinion, is the guy who plays Shatterstar. Like, it would have been cool to see him do more,
As
and
Shatterstar, right?
yeah, but like everybody else, you could understand why they'd be cameos because it
Mm-hmm.
was like Terry Crews and the Skarsgård kid that played
Yep.
it,
Mm-hmm.
and the comedian guy that plays Peter. I don't know his
Right, right,
actual
right.
name.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so it just seemed even the Vanisher ends up being Brad Pitt.
Right. Which was random, but
Yeah,
I
it was
get it. It was a
random.
nice link to how he was in talks to be Cable. They say.
Right, exactly. I didn't even think about that.
Okay, yeah,
I
because
didn't
he
even
was
think
supposed
about that connection. I
he
do
was in
remember that
talks. Yeah,
concept art of
yeah.
him as Cable,
That's why it's like,
but
oh,
that's
he'll
funny.
be the Vanisher. He's there, but he's not.
See, I thought about because they kept doing the joke with Dopinder, how he wanted to be like Kirsten Dunst in Interview
That makes sense too. Like, there's
because he
too many
was
things that
one of the
link.
main guys in Interview. I was like, oh, maybe it was like a reference to the
Mm-hmm.
interview with the vampire thing, but the Cable thing, I didn't even think
But
about
yeah,
that.
it's like Cable was cool.
Cable was cool, but I think it's weird that they did the thing where Hope is his daughter, not
Yeah.
like an adopted mutant
Right.
savior girl that
Right. Right.
he takes away through time. And they say he's a mercenary. They don't allude anything to him knowing the X-Men ahead of time and Summers is my dad or any of
Mm-hmm.
that. Um, they have it end up with him staying there, but I also like I don't know why it needed. Okay, I'll put it this way: Cable was fine, but I don't know why it needed to be Josh Brolin. Like,
It
the
could have been
version of Cable
anybody.
that we got could have been Dolph
Could
Lundgren
have been
or
anybody. He didn't
right.
need to be Brolin. He was
And
fine. He was fine
and
as him.
legitimately though, I feel like Lundgren I would have liked better
Oh, he would have been awesome.
because he would have been way better height wise. Like I think he's old enough and grizzled enough and like
Absolutely.
light filled enough looking in the face.
Absolutely. I was gonna say those things specifically. I'm like, age wise, he's the perfect age. And
I
he's
really
still
don't know why they
fit.
didn't do it. It just seems
And
like
they
such a
even didn't they mention him in the first film?
yeah. They said like I don't know who it'll be. Maybe it'll be Dolph Lundgren. Maybe it'll be Keira Knightley or whatever.
But yeah, Dolph
Um,
Lundgren should have been. I think it would have been
yeah,
cooler.
I don't know why they didn't do it because it just seems still and nothing against Brolin.
No, Brolin's fine.
Again, I thought he did a fine job, and I thought he was great as
He was
Thanos.
excellent as
But I
Thanos.
just feel like I
Yep.
really wish it was Dolph Lundgren
Hmm.
instead.
Because he would have understood. It would have made more sense. It would have been cooler too.
It would have been a better visual because he's like 6'18"
Yeah.
or
Also,
whatever.
he's
And
like he was a universal soldier. He
right,
was. You know what I mean? He was
right,
essentially Cable. Look at him in that film.
right.
He's
They
Cable.
could have made He-Man jokes.
Like everything, everything. But yeah, that was fine. Um,
Um,
Here's my thing about this film specifically.
Sucks that they offed Vanessa right at the
Right,
beginning.
that's the part that was. But then, did they? Because he got. Did he kind of retcon that himself with his time travel bullshit?
Right,
He
he
saved her.
definitely did, and which is fine, but it just kind of is a little bit lame because the you spend so much of the movie
Mm-hmm.
without her really.
Yeah.
And but I did one of the things I really it did enjoy, which was, subtle probably for most people, but if you've seen the video the gajillion times like I have, I really like it. It touched me in a way, the scene where he finally like dies or whatever, and he goes to see Vanessa, and it's playing like the acoustic slowed down version of Take on Me,
Mm-hmm.
and then they kind of like reenact the video where the drawing comes through
Yep.
the,
Yep.
the
Yep.
wall, but the like heaven
Mm-hmm.
thing pulling. And I was like, that's such a specific reference, but
It
I
really
love
is.
there.
It was cool. I like that though.
um, yeah, I really like that moment. That was really neat. But yeah, then they kind of undercut a lot of what they did with the time travel thing at the end, which is fine. It's funny, some of it like obviously doesn't make any sense still,
Yeah.
because like for example, they do the scene where Deadpool goes back to Wolverine Origins and kills Wolverine Origins version of Deadpool
Mm-hmm.
by shooting him though, which
Mm-hmm.
they established earlier in the movie would definitely not kill
Right.
Deadpool.
He
He was
needs to
like
chop. Yeah.
immortal basically. So, it doesn't make sense, but it's a funny
It's a
thing.
funny. Yeah. It's all those were funny gags. Like he shot Ryan Reynolds before he looked at the
Right, the
Green
Green
Lantern.
Lantern
So it's
script.
like at this point that was just jokes.
Right,
They were just
but
gags. But it's
but
like
it still has a scene where he saves Vanessa, so you
that's
have to go
why.
like,
That's
obviously
why.
some of this doesn't make any sense, but I guess this one happened
Right. And
because
that's kind of my thing with this film. Like because of the amount of gags and stuff in this film, the way the characters are written and whatnot, it was kind of every time they went to the more, I guess, serious tones,
yeah.
especially with dealing with Vanessa and stuff, it
Mhm.
was harder for me anyways to feel a more grounded connection to it because of all the gags. There's
Right.
so much laughs and laughs and laughs and laughs. And I know people I've had discussions with people regarding this and they're like people would often bring up like what about Guardians? And I'm like, well, the humor in Guardians has to do with each individual to one another.
Mhm.
Those are like more familial gags, but in the greater scene, you can get really deep, like the connection with him and his dad and his mum and stuff. They became really real and grounded
Mhm.
because you saw that emotion at the start, but because Deadpool is such a gag character in general, it's
Mhm.
hard for him. It's hard for me to fully get which one is. Are they taking a piss out of? Are they taking a piss on it, or they just,
Mhm.
or is this supposed to be like, oh, this is actually supposed to be a legitimate moment?
Yeah. And I don't know what, again, it sucks because we know a lot of what's going
Mm,
on behind the scenes.
mm,
But I was really bummed to have Tim Miller not be involved.
right.
And I feel like they didn't deliver on some of the promises I wanted from the Deadpool franchise.
Such as.
Like, so for example, in this movie, their version of the fourth wall breaking humor was just they would kind of Ferris Bueller it and he would look at the camera
Mm,
and it was like immediately self aware.
mm-hmm.
Whereas in the first movie, they did more things like him putting gum on the lens of the camera or pushing the camera out of the way to hit someone,
Yeah.
or um, or they did things like the scene where he gets stabbed in the head in the first movie. He like hallucinates cartoon animals and
I
stuff.
love. See, we didn't get any of that.
right. And whereas in this movie, it literally all of those all of those moments happen in a way that is much more minute or whatever. I don't know how to explain it. They're more subtle. They're more basic, I
A little bit
guess.
subdued.
Yeah. So because I don't know if it was an issue of the first movie that took them like a decade to finally make it,
Hmm.
so they got to kind of re up that script over and over again for all of that time until they finally made it. This second script, they just had to kind of rush and go.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get together and write it so we can do this movie. So they had less time to think about those things. And
Which
I
is
think
always trickier with those.
without Tim Miller and his effects team, you're getting stuff like the Colossus stuff where he looks like a rigged character.
Right,
And
Colossus in the first one felt like he was there.
because they had a mocap guy doing all the body
Mm.
stuff, they had a mocap guy doing all the head stuff. This one, they were just like, we have a CG character and we got the voice actor for the first movie to come back or whatever.
Which is fine because it ties it to the first one.
Right. It just didn't seem as good, you know. Any all the CG stuff for that matter. I felt like in the CG in the first movie for all the scenes with Deadpool, where it's Deadpool's CG character,
It looked
were
like it was him.
practically seamless.
Yep.
Other than the opening sequence where everything is CG in slow
Right, right.
motion, clearly that looks like a CG thing. But a lot of the flipping scenes
Mm-hmm.
and all that crap, it
Which it was
just looks like
CG. Yeah,
him in a
you
suit.
think it's a stunt dude wearing a Deadpool
Right.
suit.
But I just don't feel like they captured that as well in the second movie. Like there's a scene where Colossus, or not Colossus, where Cable gets like flung out of the back of a
Oh,
car and he
dude.
like throws his hand out like this or some
Yeah.
shit. And it's like very clearly a
It
CGI
was,
Josh
yeah, it
Brolin.
was,
Like
some of
it
it
looked
was,
more CG than him as Thanos,
I
you know?
know. Dude, Thanos was more there, was more real.
That's what I'm saying, you know? So
But then when you think about it,
um,
Thanos, a lot of, I mean, it's not the same film, but Infinity War, the CG was just spectacular.
mhm,
The characters that were, all digital felt, oh, no, you forget, that's not a dude, that's not an 8 foot dude, that's purple.
right. So,
Um,
you know, I don't know. I thought the Juggernaut stuff worked really well. I just didn't think Colossus stuff worked as well.
Juggernaut looked cool.
Yeah, I thought he
Juggernaut
looked
was
pretty
great.
successful.
That prison had like Black Tom Cassidy.
Which I don't know that character at all.
Yeah,
I mean, the gag of calling Cable racist for killing him
yep.
or whatever was pretty funny. But I didn't. I know everybody like made a big deal about Black Tom Cassidy, the character being in the movie
Mm.
beforehand, but I didn't know that character at all,
But
and it
just like
ended
the
up
X
him being
Force, yeah,
nothing.
just like the X
And
Force, he's just
there was a bunch of hullabaloo about Peter because his last name was W, that he was going to be this character named Peter Wisdom, who was like a secret spy and could make like laser knives out of his hands. And they were like, it's going to be that guy. He's pretending to be lame Peter, but he's going to be a spy and he's going to have laser knives or
nope.
whatever.
He's just Peter,
None of that. He's just Peter.
who's
He's just
great.
Peter. Who is great. But that was another thing too when they retcon that and he goes
Yep,
back and saves people. I
because
was
he
kind
liked
of
Peter.
bummed he didn't save
Everybody,
any of the rest of
mm-hmm.
them. Yeah,
Because Peter was
um,
his favorite. I'm like,
which I get, but I kind of wish that they could have resolved that in a way where he saved everybody, but maybe he did something better for Peter or something.
yeah, yeah, he
Some.
saved everybody, but like, he actually treated Peter really well.
But at the same time, I'm like, if they're gonna be doing an X Force movie, I'm really curious how they're gonna rebuild out that team if it's gonna be all new people this
Right.
time.
You kind
Uh,
of,
because it'd be cool if it's like a more modern take on the team where it's like Wolverine, Psylocke, Archangel, something like that. But
well, that'd be something. I mean, we got an
just
X
don't
Men
see it happening.
cameo in this film randomly, which to
We
me doesn't
did.
make sense
It doesn't make sense,
at all.
but there's no reason necessarily. Okay, no, that's not true. Because I was gonna say maybe Deadpool could take place in the '90s because
No.
they never do anything specifically where it couldn't.
Yeah.
But I think there's one scene in the first movie where there's a flip cell phone, so at
Hmm.
very least like early 2000s. Because I was like, they every all the music references in Deadpool are all older music, so
Right.
it still could
Right.
be a
They could
period
say, oh, this
piece.
takes place in 97,
Right, right.
99.
But yeah, the fact that it was the like younger
That's why, and
generation
I'm just
X-Men
like,
was
I
kind
mean,
of
it's
bizarre.
neat because
But
that's the
it's also
current,
Deadpool, so it doesn't
right?
matter.
But that's why I'm like, that's the thing about this thing. Anything they do, as cool as it is, it doesn't matter in the end. It's fun. It's a fun time,
Yeah, I
but it doesn't.
honestly I almost wish they didn't show them
Yeah, that's
because
a funnier gag to me.
Deadpool's X-Men legitimately could have been the
Anybody.
MCU version of X-Men. We just haven't seen that team yet.
Exactly. Exactly.
But
Agree with that.
now who knows what they'll do without any of
I
this
don't know.
crap.
They're like, I know there was like interviews, articles saying it's like Ryan Reynolds would love a Deadpool Guardians crossover, stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't want.
Yeah, I mean, just seeing them in scenes together would be
Would be
funny,
fun, but then it's
but I don't
like,
think we need a movie of it.
yeah, like what relevance would it be at all? What would it add to a Guardians film to have a Deadpool
I
coming
don't
there,
think
villain
it
there?
would add anything to a Guardians film. However,
It would add to a Deadpool film
if
for
they did
sure.
something like Deadpool kills the Marvel universe and we
Right.
get to see vignettes of him meeting all these characters and dispatching them, would be amazing. I just don't think we're ever going to get anything
No.
like that. It's too meta of a
That's
concept.
right. It's too what if.
Yeah, but at the same time, if Feige has Deadpool and he's like, we can do whatever we want with this guy, be self-aware, who knows? Who knows what they would do?
They'd probably end up just
Uh,
doing that with Gwenpool.
oh, jeez, dude, I don't want that. Um,
The film was fun.
yeah.
I
What
mean,
did you like the Wilder People kid?
he's fine. He's the same character in those
He
two
really
films. That's my
was.
problem.
He really was the
Like,
same character.
it's fine because,
He,
if you like Hunt
he
for the Wilder
does
People,
the
which I
when
enjoyed,
he's laying up against the wall, he does the caw.
yeah, it's the same. Like, he's kind of at this point, it's a one trick, but it's fine. Like, the trick is fun for now.
Right.
It'll get old really quickly though if you continue just doing this
Yeah,
shit.
if they cast him as that, but you also have to keep in mind, not everybody saw Hunt for the Wilder People. That was a
That's why.
niche.
Very, very.
So this is their first exposure to that character generally.
Damn it.
Oh yeah, it's the alarm sound. Was that an alarm or a ringtone?
Ring.
No.
Anyway, film is fine.
Yes, but
Film is
did
fine. I
you
enjoyed it.
you were fine with Dennison,
He was
whatever his
fine. He
name is?
didn't, he did nothing. He didn't really take away from the film. Fire Fist was
And
Fire Fist, very different, I suppose, from the books, supposedly.
who do you feel like was the actual villain of this movie? I guess like the Church of Pedos
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever.
The school that
I kind
distributed
of feel like that's what this movie kind of lacked for
a
me
solid
was a
villain.
definitive
Stop
villain.
crying. I get it. I get it. I get it, bro. I get it.
um, like with the first movie, because he was concentrated on Francis, he was like a relentless, this is my goal. Whereas in the second movie, I feel like his goal was just make nice with the kid.
Hmm.
There wasn't like a villain that he needed to take out.
I mean,
They wanted to avoid Cable, but they didn't want to kill Cable
right.
necessarily. So it wasn't the same deal.
Yeah, it's tricky because there wasn't a sole villain. I'm surprised no one's really brought this up. I haven't really like watched any reviews and such of
I
this
haven't
film
either
either.
yet.
Um,
Maybe they do bring it up. I don't know.
maybe, but that's a thing. There wasn't a solid thing like, and because of that's kind of one of the things about Deadpool is can you
Mhm.
really do a villain that's not
Why
like
not?
Deadpool himself? I mean, they did it in the first one, but then doesn't he off him too?
Oh, you mean Francis?
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely kills Francis. But I guess that was their version of doing it was he fought a guy who couldn't feel pain, which wasn't
Right,
the
right,
same
right.
as he could
Yeah.
heal. But I just everything about the character's motivation in that first movie, just the whole first movie in general was such a smoother operation feeling to me.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this second movie had a lot of the things that you wanted to see from Deadpool, but the actual like structure of it was less solid.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I just feel like maybe it was as a result of why the first movie taking so long to actually get made. But I just
Right,
feel
right.
like every tighter as far as
Yeah,
this
definitely,
happens,
definitely.
this happens, this leads to this happens, this leads to this kind of thing. Whereas in the second one, it just feels like kind of like the Terminator, like we got to save the kid storyline, but with that, like with Terminator,
They even
T
had
one
villain. Yeah, he
thousand
was a villain.
was definitively
Yeah, yeah.
the bad guy, whereas in this one,
They had none.
Cable wasn't.
No.
You know Cable is not the bad guy. They
Right.
established early on he's not the villain. He just wants to kill this kid,
Mm.
but he's doing it for what a reason that he thinks is justified.
And it was to an
You don't have a
extent.
real antagonist other than
Right. That's interesting.
yeah. So it just kind of didn't. It didn't like I don't know. It just
I
kind of seemed like here's another adventure with Deadpool rather
basically that's
than
all it was. And
Deadpool 2
that's why
definitive story about Deadpool.
that's why to me, this Deadpool film, as fun as it was, it doesn't
Hmm.
really hold much stake.
Right.
It's kind of almost like a throwaway, like a
It
filler.
really it does. Like
You know what I
the to
mean?
me, other than like other than Zazie Beats
Yeah,
Domino,
which was to
pretty
me
much
the highlight.
everything else I could take it
Yeah.
or leave it.
Same.
Like she's the only thing about the movie where I was like, she needed to be that. No
Absolutely.
other version of Domino would have satisfied
Absolutely.
me.
Yep. Yep.
Whereas like Cable, I would have been way more fine with
Dolph
Dolph
Lundgren would have been
Lundgren.
sweet.
The Fire Fist kid, he was fine, but I
He's
don't think he
fine. Yep.
needed to be that.
Villain.
Uh,
Yeah. I mean, Juggernaut was great. Seeing was
Juggernaut was
cool.
cool, but had he been like framed as Juggernaut as the bad guy the whole
Yeah.
time, I think could would have even been cooler,
Right. Right.
But
Because
there
they kept
just wasn't
alluding to
that.
that one character in that
Yeah,
cell.
there's a big bad
Yeah, there's a
guy,
big guy there, and it's like, okay.
but then they undercut that immediately once you're about to see him fight, because then they go big CGI fight coming in.
Yeah. It's like, don't do.
It
Yeah,
was just
dude.
it was the wrong kind of fourth wall
There
breaking in
was
my
too
opinion.
many things. There was like things here where I'm like, and there was too many. Like they threw so many jokes
Yeah,
that you're most likely gonna miss a lot of them, and that would kind of make sense because I'm sure a lot of them wouldn't even stick.
right.
But
And then some of the jokes were written in like it didn't even make sense, but they were just they
mm,
wanted that joke in there so bad that they did it.
yeah,
Like they had the whole scene at the very beginning or whatever. He blows himself up because they wanted to do like the look, this crazy thing happened. Let's go
mm-hmm.
back and see how it
Right,
happened.
right, yep,
So he blows himself up, but then they have Colossus shows up. He just puts all the body parts in a bag,
mm-hmm.
brings him back to the mansion, and he reforms himself. I assume by just
Yeah.
the parts being next to each other. But then,
Or
but
the scene
then,
where it gets split in half and you see his like infant legs.
right. But that's what I'm saying. That doesn't make any sense
No,
because why wouldn't he just keep his legs after Juggernaut ripped him in half? Just
because you
put the
can
two
just
pieces next to each other.
bingo.
Like he purposely was like, no, just bring my torso
Yep,
home
yep.
and I'll regrow my legs
What
for
about
a
the
week
legs?
or whatever for
Yeah,
no
does the
reason.
legs regrow something?
Right, turned into another Deadpool.
Another like Deadpool
Um,
versus Deadpool.
yeah, so that was weird to me,
Yeah,
like establishing the rules of how that works.
it's fine, Ross,
But
because
it
it's a
seemed
gag
like
movie.
yeah, it was literally like we wrote this so that we could have a baby legs and you
Absolutely.
see his wiener
Yep.
joke because we did the baby hands thing in the
Yeah.
first
And
movie.
that was fun. That went well. That went really well. So let's do it again, but bigger.
Right. There was a lot of like remember what we did in the
Mm-hmm.
first movie kind of scenes, like the even him finding the cocaine and cure for blindness in the floorboards because he said that to her in the
Mm-hmm.
first movie. I just feel like this second one, and I don't know what Tim Miller's plan
I
was,
don't
not
know
at
either.
all.
I don't know either.
But I feel like they they should have been taking it further as far as what a character like Deadpool can do
Yep.
as far as the fourth wall breaking. We never, in the comics, he can take borders and panels off and stuff like that. I feel like we should have been able to see him use a boom mic as a weapon
That's what I was gonna
or
say.
go into someone else's movie
Mm-hmm.
and kill a character and
Or
come
like
back out.
even go off scene and it looks like an actual set is moving.
Exactly,
You
like
see like the director's chair and whatnot. Anything. Just
right.
things where it's like, oh, they're filming this in a soundstage.
Right, exactly. I just feel like they needed to embrace that more
You
and
can
I
do that.
feel like
Mm-hmm.
I and I wonder if going more that direction is what really didn't work or what they really argued about with Tim Miller because
Maybe.
just because I think that everybody was speculating that it was something to do with him making a bigger movie. I want to make a bigger
Yeah,
movie,
yeah. But
and
maybe that
he
was it.
said and he said adamantly that that wasn't the case. And I'm wondering if it wasn't necessarily that it was bigger, it was just bolder
Yeah, yeah,
ideas.
yeah,
And they were like, no, keep it simple.
yeah,
Cable shows up, he wants to kill a kid, and we stop him. And they were like, but we can try things,
yeah.
and
We can
he
do
was like, no.
things like where when he's
So
jumping, you see like his rope,
right.
like things where it's like, oh, they're making a movie. He knows that he's in a movie. Let's do more of that.
So
Otherwise, the film is fine. There are things where I'm like, but all in all, I was just as I left the cinema, I remembered I was like, this film is fun, but it's definitely it's pretty forgettable. Like they did so much more. I felt that because the first film established so many things, we're
mhm,
just kind of seeing it done over again.
right.
Mind you, I loved aspects of this one. Again, like Domino was fantastic. She was great.
Domino's great.
Loved her. Cable was good. He had moments, cool moments. Juggernaut looked cool. I mean, this is we got a Juggernaut.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I'm like, yeah, this film is kind of like it was a fun time. And I know people like, oh, they're expecting that much of this new Ant Man and the Wasp, and I'm like, they're probably gonna do things in Ant Man and the Wasp which will play greater into that universe than we even expect.
I'm hoping so. I'm really excited for that one,
Yeah,
actually.
I am too. I mean, because people are forgetting, like especially with that one, it's like the whole quantum realm already is a thing that it's not Infinity Stone related, but you can
Right.
essentially do what you do within Infinity Stone.
Yeah.
That's got to play in. Anyway, Deadpool's fine. If you like the first, watch it. Watch it. Do you think it's cinema worthy?
I if you like superhero movies, I think
Mm,
so, yeah.
for sure.
But I think I did see it twice because somebody else was like, "Let's go again, yeah, yeah."
Okay.
But I don't think that I would have without
Right.
them prompting
I
me.
was
I
gonna
think
say
I was fine with a one and done
yeah.
on this
Same
one,
here.
whereas the first Deadpool, I think I saw two or three
Yeah,
times
yeah. I
maybe in
think I
the
saw
theater.
that two or three times. But like me wanting to because it's something so
Right,
fresh.
because I
Yeah, yeah.
enjoyed it. It was
Right.
something
Hmm.
new and different. Because I just, like the first Deadpool movie, even the action scene on the bridge when he's killing everybody with the numbered bullets,
Sick.
even the action of him killing all those guys was story driven because it was
Yeah.
showing he's limited on what he can do here and he's still making it work.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas they did that in like lamer ways in the
Mm-hmm.
second movie. They're like, well, he's limited. Cable won't give him a gun.
Yeah.
So he's going to hit everybody with a brick, which is funny,
Yeah.
but it doesn't show the finesse in the same
No.
way. It doesn't show his capability. It's just
You
showing
felt
he's
like a
brutal.
ninja in that
He'll
first
hit
one,
people with
dude.
a brick. Right. And the second one, the big action scene for him is the montage at the beginning where he's murdering everyone to 9 to 5
That
by
was
Dolly
fun.
Parton. It was fun,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
none of that stuff had any
Right.
stakes except
Absolutely.
for
Mm-hmm.
it gets Vanessa killed. But
Yeah, yeah.
I
Again,
don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. No, I get it completely.
I did like that scene where he's chasing him though in the room and the guy's running in slow motion,
Mm-hmm.
but everything else is zipping around.
That was neat. They
I
had a
thought that
lot
was
of
a
cool.
fun
Yeah, they
visual.
had a lot of really cool things, but a lot of it didn't really play. Didn't really push the character story
Yeah, it
forward
just
that
didn't
much.
cohesively line
Yes,
up the way everything in the first movie did for me.
that's why I was like. I think I was like after this one, I was like, I like the first one more,
Yeah,
but this one was still fine. It was
I
fine.
enjoyed it,
Yeah, yeah, I enjoyed
just
it.
not as much as I
Right,
liked. I
right.
thought also thought the first one just visually the cinematography looked
Oh,
better.
it was. It
I thought
was.
it was like grittier
Mm-hmm.
and like I really like the texture of that first movie.
Yeah, it felt gritty, like
Yeah, for
without
some
like
reason it went less so.
forcefully being gritty. Like let's try and
Mhm.
make a gritty film. It just felt gritty.
Right.
But
But
yeah,
anywho,
watch
I
it.
liked it. Check it out.
Let us know what you guys think too. Cause
Yeah.
I'm curious, like I'm sure we missed out on a lot of things. Let us know if there were certain aspects that you enjoyed more in this one, what you enjoyed, why you enjoyed it, stuff like
And I'm
that.
curious what's next because I don't know if we talked about it, but there was supposedly a test screening for the X-Men Phoenix thing, and it
Oh, I did
is
not hear
not
that.
getting positively received.
I don't care anymore, man.
But there's like a supposedly description of the test
Oh,
screening,
really?
and they actually, and some of it lines up because they say that the beginning sequence is like the X-Men doing their X-Men thing, and they're wearing the Frank Quitely, I think,
Cool.
designed uniforms where it's the like leather jacket with the big ass yellow X
Nice.
on the
That's
front.
sick.
And I've seen set pictures of them in that, so that lines up.
Okay.
But I didn't look at the rest of the description to see all the stuff that everybody was complaining about, but I've
Hmm.
heard not great
Ugh,
things.
I don't care anymore,
So
man. I think I've given up on the X Men films, man.
I kind of have too, but it's also like it's so close to them being able to reboot it already that I'm
That's
just like, just hurry up and get
yeah.
to that part.
That's why I'm just
Can we just
that's why
skip
I'm
the
not caring
next
about
two?
this one right now because I'm just like, just come on, Disney. Just I'm waiting for what Disney do with this because it can't get worse. I
But
say this
If Comcast buys
right.
Fox's stuff instead, then we don't get that.
I
So
know.
we
Then we're
just gotta
not. We're just gonna have to get more of this, or they reboot it. And I don't even care. Whatever.
right.
And the thing is, it's almost like because I don't care, I want to
Hmm.
care because we grew up on X Men, you know, '90s. So it's pretty much one of our first loves
Yeah.
and comics and stuff. But because of what we're getting from it, I'm not caring anymore. And
Do you
I'm
think
fine with not
they'll?
caring because we got so well with the Marvel stuff.
Do you think that we'll officially get a? It's not happening on Gambit sometime soon?
I hope.
Because there's
Wait, didn't they say recently Channing Tatum might be Captain Cold?
really, I didn't
Yeah,
hear that.
I read that somewhere, and I was like,
That's
wait, they're still
interesting.
doing a Flash movie? I thought they've given up on those too.
They really have to
Yeah,
do Flashpoint and change everything. If they're gonna keep any of the stuff, that's the only way to
yeah,
make it
do
happen.
it immediately.
Yeah, retcon it as fast as possible.
Immediately. Make that film be the start point, be the end point, so that you can start fresh.
Right. And just make it so Affleck isn't the only one that goes. Get rid of the ones that matter less. Like
Yes.
nobody was attached to Cyborg. Cyborg's out of here.
Or
He's going to show
Aquaman.
up
I know
on
they're doing. I
Titans
know they've
now.
already finished Aquaman, but
We're not
everyone,
getting rid of Aquaman. Aquaman's staying. Wonder
Wonder
Woman's
Woman's
staying.
staying.
Superman's staying. Everybody else can go except
Just
you can even change Flash.
yeah.
Like have him do the Flashpoint movie, and in the Flashpoint movie, he changes to someone else at the end.
You can do whatever you want. The thing
But
is, the Flash. Yeah,
do something
do
because
something because
Affleck's gone. Joker movie is about to change.
I don't care
This
about any of
DC
them.
movie, these DC
Hey Royce,
movies, man.
I don't care about any of them.
Do you care less about those than you care about Gambit?
Oh, equally.
Well, you used to get really angry about Gambit,
I
so
don't. Let's put it this way: I'm not even angry anymore. I just don't care. Like
tis what it
if they
is.
make it and they release
Mhm.
it, I don't think I'm watching it.
Yeah, it's a tough sell for sure.
Very very tough. People will have to pay for my ticket.
um, I think that's a good place, Zinni.
Yeah.
That covers our Deadpool 2 discussion.
What are your
Uh,
thoughts though? Let us know.
yeah, tell us what you guys think, and hopefully we'll do another one of these really soon.
Yeah, sometime this week we might have some new
Because I
stuff.
wanted, we should do whatever the thing is for the jam, so we can
For
actually
sure.
have an art
Mm-hmm.
one for the next one.
For sure.
But until the next one, guys, stay chipper chaps.
Stay chipper.